Hey everyone, it's Bree. Welcome to my channel. Today is Thursday morning. Last night I finished Swept Away by Camry Solomon. I listened to that while I was cooking and yeah, I ended up enjoying it. I think if you're a fan of time travel romance, it's definitely worth the read. I know that I feel like time travel romances are more like few far in between these days. Like you have to do some digging. So I'm excited that I discovered Camry Solomon because this is book one in her Swept Away saga series. So there's more to follow with this. And then I know that she has a book that follows a heroine from present day that travels back to the Revolutionary War time period as well. So I'm really excited about reading more of her books, and I reached out to her last night after I finished the book and I was like, I have so many questions. She has agreed to do a question and answer with me, so I'm going to, once I get off of here and do a couple of other things, I'm gonna type up those questions and email them to her. I'm so excited. I love picking authors' brains, just learning about their process as writers and their lives as readers, and I always love finding out what led them to reading romance in the first place. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Reading wise for today, I think the goal is going to be to make my way through Halloween Boo, which is by Sarah Spade. I read the first chapter of this last night and it is so good. Okay, so Danny and Zach. Danny has moved into this apartment in Salem from, I think she was in like California at first, and she gets transferred to Salem, Massachusetts. She moves into an apartment and she learns very quickly that it's haunted. And what's cool about this so far is that we get her perspective and the ghost perspective. His name is Zach, and it's just really interesting because he's like, I don't know how I died. I literally just like came to one day and this is where I was. I'm anxious to see how their relationship is going to bloom because obviously he's been there but he can't make contact with her. It's just like literally a haunting. I need to get a jump start on the arcs that I was sent back in September. A lot of them were holiday romances, and I told myself like don't start reading them too early because I didn't want to get burnt out before Christmas time came. But now that it's October, I also just really want to be present in October and actually read like paranormal romances and scary books. But then November is gonna come and it's nonfiction November, and I have a bunch of memoirs that I'm like really excited for and want to read. I'm just gonna take my time. I'm picking up Sarah Richardson's A Cowboy for Christmas. This releases at the end of October, so October 29th. This was sent to me from Forever. Tomorrow is my day, as of right now, that I plan to finish my paper for school. I'm ready to just get it over with, turned in, so then my focus can be on studying for my final exam, which will be next week. I'm making soup today, a potato soup, which I've never made before, so I'm kind of nervous because I've never done it before. And then the recipe that I found, it looks like it's kind of a cut corners cheat kind of way to make it, which I'm okay with. I had like little golden russet potatoes in my kitchen yesterday, and I was about to just go to the grocery store and buy groceries. But then I watched this video from Jordan Page. I'll leave a link to the video down below. And it was just the motivation I need. Homegirl was just like, the video is titled like, see how I spend $25 a week on groceries for a family of 8. And the video's like 18 minutes long. And about 14 minutes of it was her saying, before I go to the grocery store, I'm going to do an inventory of what I already have. So she writes down this list of like everything she already has. She goes to her freezer. Okay, I have hamburger meat. I have this. I have these vegetables in the fridge. And then she sat down and she made a list of what she could make with what she already had. So then the $25 basically ended up being little stuff like, oh, we'll just grab a thing of eggs or we'll grab some more cheese. And I was like, that is smart. So the potatoes that I was going to use for this recipe, I just ended up making those, like just boiling them and then taking them out of the water once they got soft. Then I put like melted butter on them, you know, salt and pepper, and then I poured like some Italian seasoning on it and then sprinkled cheese. And I served that with some chicken and carrots and celery because I was like, I need to use these before they go bad as well. Anyway, I was like, okay, I need to go to the store now anyway to get some bagged potatoes because the recipe just calls for like a bag of hash browns. Here's the ingredients for the recipe I'm trying today. It just calls for a bag of these diced hash brown potatoes. I have an onion I'm about to chop up, and then it calls for 2 cans of chicken broth and then a can of cream of chicken soup. Okay, I've never bought cream cheese before, so I just bought this little box here from Target's little grocery section that they had yesterday. So hopefully it turns out good, guys. That is it.
That's convenient that she has
things and then uses it with the even.
Joking this weekend. More in the series for this one. We'll read.
Well, it's like the. So Sierra and I don't buy children's books all the time.
Okay, so yay for dump and go meals, y'all. I poured the bag of potatoes in there, and then I put my onions, which I chopped up, on top of that. And then on top of the onions, I went ahead and poured the cream of chicken soup, and then I poured in both cans of the chicken broth, and that is it. I also sprinkled a little bit of pepper. The recipe does call for pepper, no salt, wouldn't want it to be too salty. And then you just put the lid on, put it on low, and it cooks on low for 5 hours. So now that my food is in the slow cooker, oh, I need to set my timer. I always set it on my phone so that I don't lose track of the time, but I'm also kind of in the mood to do some unhauling. So I'm gonna go look at my bookshelves and see what I have, because there are 2 memoirs that I really want that I want to read next month for Nonfiction November. I would like to see if Half Price Books has them. I typically don't have the best luck with Half Price books. So these are the books that we are going to unhaul. A lot of these are ones that I received for review. So I received a review copy, and then I would get the finished copy at the end. So I don't need to have both. I'm gonna box these. I don't feel like with Half Price books you really get your money's worth. The only time I've scored big was about 2 years ago. I took a big box of books and old records. I mean, I've taken boxes of hardcovers that I know I paid almost $30 for, and they offer you basically the price of one book for this big box of books that you've taken. So
I bought another one. I bought another one.
we bought our books, and there's no one else in line in front of us, so it should not take that long. But I'm just anxious to see what we're actually going to get for what we bought. We ended up getting about $30. That's what I expected to get, so I'm not too disappointed. But we are going to head over to the Central Market and get smoothies, and then we're gonna go back home. We have our pick-me-up smoothies. They are delicious, as usual. So now we are going to make the trek all the way back home. It was a very well worth it trip. We're home. We've been home for a little while. My sister called me during her lunch, so I chatted with her for about 45 minutes. I have not done any reading since I've been here. I haven't even done my author Q&A. When I get off of here, I'm gonna do that and then maybe get some reading done. I think Halloween Boo is only about 100 pages, so I can get that finished at some point today. Just had some thoughts on something. So I unhauled the books. I made $30. After that, Kason and I went to the Central Market to get smoothies. Going over there, treating yourself, go in knowing that you're gonna pay a pretty penny for whatever you walk out with. I love their smoothies. We go over there for 2 smoothies. I paid $15, and it just really bothers me and baffles me how expensive it can be to eat healthy. To have a smoothie, I paid $15. When the lady said that, I was just like, I don't even know if I want these this bad, but whatever. You just went to all this trouble to make them, so I'm gonna pay for them. And so then it's lunchtime, right? And what's across the street? I could have gotten food there, right? But by this time, I done spent $15. We're getting out of there. We're going to get lunch somewhere cheaper. Right across the street is a McDonald's. I'm not the biggest fan of McDonald's, but when I'm hungry, if there's one there, I'm gonna go. So I go and we're gonna get 2 fries, 2 medium fries, $5.30 later. And I'm just, on one hand, I'm telling myself, this stuff has probably always been expensive or ridiculously a little overpriced. But now that I'm in this like transition phase of life where like right now, the money that I have is the money that I have until I get paid again, whenever that is. And you know, so you have to be a little bit smarter with the money that you do have. And I've already been in this mind state of like, I need to do better my finances, trying to pay more attention to what is my money going to. Little stuff like that, I'm like, I can definitely cut back on, because that was just $20 that I now feel as though was just kind of thrown away. And the soup turned out amazing. I will leave a link for you all down below, just the pin that I found on Pinterest. It was really good. It is a Paula Deen recipe, so if the link for whatever reason doesn't work for you guys, just search like Paula Deen potato soup recipe. It's Friday morning, y'all, and it feels like the fall here in South Texas. I'm loving it. It's about 60 something degrees. The wind is blowing. I went to the grocery store and everyone had a light jacket on. I just threw on one of my grandpa's old flannels. It's so cozy and it feels like he's just giving me a hug. I love it. But today's grocery store adventure was a success. I sat down this morning and I put to use the advice that I saw in the Jordan Page video. And I started with my freezer. I went through and I inventoried everything that I already had. Threw out some stuff because we've had some meats in there since like June. And I need to research and see how long these things can stay frozen, but it was only like 2 packages of stuff. So I inventoried everything in my freezer, then I went through my fridge, I went through my pantry, and then I went through my cabinets and had my list of stuff that we already had. Did that, and then I sat down with my laptop, I got on Pinterest, and I started first with, okay, what recipes can we make based off of what we already have? And then I just kind of filled in the blanks with other recipes that I've saved online. Jordan actually recommends having a recipe binder, which I think is a good idea. I've actually thought of that before, and I know Barnes & Noble, they sell like these little recipe cards, so I might start off with that because I think that's a really good idea. But she would sit and do hers using her recipe binder, just recipes that she saved. So that might be a project that I start for myself. But anyway, so then I ended up with, don't mind this list because it was in the grocery store. I ended up with this list. It was everything that we would need. And guys, I spent almost $100 less than what I would normally spend. I was so excited when I got back home, pulled up the bank to see what was left, and I was like, that's awesome. So I did it in hopes that I bought enough to last for the next couple of weeks. I'm so used to going every payday for the military being the 1st and the 15th. So that's what I'm used to doing. But right now, this is working. I'm gonna put all of this stuff away. It is a mess in here. There are bags everywhere. So I'm gonna put that stuff away, and then I'm going to sit down, get some reading done. My husband is going to cook dinner tonight, so I'm going to relax the rest of my Friday night. Later on, I'm gonna do some blog posts. Last minute, I decided that I wanted to do Blogtober. A lot of bloggers are doing it every day in the month of October, but I'm kicking mine off on the 15th. I already have a couple of posts typed out, and then I have some scheduled posts already, so I just had to like switch the titles up and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm gonna knock out a couple of more posts for that tonight. I'm excited. It'll just be the 15th through the 31st, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So if you want more content from me, definitely check out my blog. It's Saturday morning, guys. I got up this morning and I went and sat at the coffee shop for about an hour and knocked out literally 1 page towards my 12-page paper that's due tomorrow by 11:59 p.m. We will knock the rest of that out tomorrow. I'm just mentally over this class and ready for it to be over. I did not do any of the reading that I planned to do yesterday. I did get a little bit of audiobook listening in yesterday and this morning. I'm currently listening to The Water Witch, which is book 2 in the Fairwick Chronicles by Juliet Dark, but I guess that's a pseudonym for Carol Goodman. So the first book, which is The Demon Lover, it says Juliet Dark, but The Water Witch says Carol Goodman. So they are the same author if you are looking into reading the series. I was blanking on the first book because it's been such a long time since I've read it, but the more that I get into The Water Witch, it kind of is just repeating certain things from book 1 that are like bringing it back. In book 1, you meet Callie, who is the heroine, and she's a professor that moves to this small town called Fairwick, and she learns that she's basically surrounded by witches and demons and fairies, just all types of supernatural beings. And she learns that she's part witch, part fairy, little part human. And her parents passed away, and she starts like as a kid kind of imagining this fairy prince charming guy. But once she moves into the town, she learns that she wasn't like imagining him. He's an incubus, and he like has been part of her life for a very long time. And in the first book, their relationship is very hot and heavy, but she has to learn that like he is draining her energy, so they have to stop all of that. So in this book, she learns that the supernatural beings that she's around want to close this door to this fairyland, and she goes and visits the fairyland. And when she's down there, she learns that basically if the door closes, the female fairies can't get out and they can't reproduce, and basically the race is going to die. And she's like, well, there are male fairies, and she learns through a very embarrassing moment to one of the fairy guys that they've been being born unisex. So it's like really crucial that she keeps the door open, and she is a doorkeeper. So once she gets her power under control, she could be a really big deal. But since she's really new to all of this, it's just kind of out of control. So it's a lot lot going on. It's interesting. I don't hate it, but there's also something about it that I'm just like not really excited to just jump into. But I do kind of want to see where the story goes. I want to see what happens between her and her incubus, because I made the mistake. I downloaded this book and the third book at the same time. And I started reading the third book thinking it was the second book, and I was just like, wait a minute, this seems like too far ahead. So I pulled it up on Goodreads and I was like, oh, this is the third book. So I kind of know some things. It's also just the audiobook. I think I'm not the biggest fan of the narrator. I've been craving some butter noodles for lunch, so that's what we're going with. I have my water going already and it's ready for me to put the noodles in. I'm just using a half a pack of noodles that are already open. I break them in half. It's just me and the kids right now, so we don't need a lot. Chop up some garlic once I throw the noodles in there, and then I'll saute those in some butter. And then once I can smell the garlic and it's not burnt, but I can smell it cooking, I'll chop up some kale and throw that in there as well. At the end, I just mix it all together. I mean, use whatever cheese that you want, but I just buy this bag of Italian blend because it has basically everything that I would want to put in there. Here is lunch for the day, you guys. Very flavorful, meatless. If you're a pasta lover, I highly recommend. Hey guys, so it's Saturday night, it's about 8 o'clock, and I just wanted to do a quick check-in. I read a few more chapters in Halloween Boo, and it is good. I caught on to something that nobody had told me was a thing, so I'm reading it. Not really thinking, okay, the heroine's name is Danielle, and it didn't dawn on me until she's talking to her friend Allison, and Allison calls her Danny. I'm just like, I've heard those names in the same story before. And then Danny starts talking about hooking Allison up with her brother, and she says her brother's name is Max Dennison. And I'm like, the note in Hocus Pocus that Allison gives back to Max, it says Max Dennison on it. Or in Halloween Boo, his name is Max Dennis. I was like, okay, I'm catching on. And then I realized the ghost's name is Zach, and Zachary Binks was the ghost boy in The Cat. So I was like, okay, I've never read fan fiction, so I don't want to say, okay, this feels like fan fiction, but I'm assuming that this is what fan fiction would feel like. And I'm loving it because your girl has always secretly wished that we would get like a perspective of Danny getting older and something happening with Zachary Binks. I'm enjoying it. I made dinner. I made a recipe that I found on Pinterest that was like a tater tot hamburger casserole dish, and I enjoyed it. There was one ingredient that I didn't use, which was hot sauce. We don't eat hot sauce, so I didn't even buy it, but I'm eating it and I'm like, okay, something is missing. And I was just like, dang, I wish that I would have bought some and included it, because it just, although it was good, it was one of those recipes where that something was missing, and I really feel like that was what was missing. Hey guys, so it's Sunday afternoon. I finished Halloween Boo by Sarah Spade last night. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars on my Goodreads, which is always linked down below. I really enjoyed it. So I should have read the little blurb on the front, because the author is very adamant about, like, she loved Hocus Pocus as a kid. So yeah, this story is basically based off of that. Tomorrow is Monday, and it's the beginning of Spookathon, which is another readathon that I'm going to be taking part in. And the thing hasn't even kicked off, and I'm already thinking of books that I should have added into my TBR. So we will see how tomorrow goes. But it's been a really chill Sunday. I got up, I went and got coffee this morning, and I sat and finished my paper for school. I got about 9 pages in while I was there, and then I had to come home and finish the last 3 pages. It was like going to be the death of me, but it is done, it is turned in. So school is done for the day. I can finally relax, maybe watch some Hallmark. I might actually save my Hallmark movies for tomorrow because it's a holiday here in the States. So after I get reading done tomorrow, I might sit and finish those, but we will see. But I think I'm gonna end the vlog here to keep it short, since I'm going to be trying to do daily vlogs throughout Spookathon. So I hope all is well with you. Let me know what you are reading, how your week has gone. I would really, really love to know. I will see you in my next video. Have a good day. Bye.